Hi, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Casey. We're building our own house.
And clearing land for our farm. We got quite a drip, and the water here goes into the building, so I'm still thinking roof, but lower roof. In this case, the first floor. It's a hip roof, so it comes up at an angle and joins in 10 feet from the side of the building, runs over flat 8 feet to the other hip, which is like there somewhere, and then comes down to the outside, 1 foot overhang, and it has some special hip rafters, hip beams. So the other rafters are 2x8s, and that's not the same size. So there's a whole bunch of math that we're doing to try and figure it out.
Oh, I've got 3 5/8. How did I come up with 3 5/8? I came up with it by adding the 1 3/8 that we calculated for the 2x8 bird's mouth and adding in 1 on 4 slope for 9 3/4, which is 2 1/4. So if I add those two together, it becomes 3 5/8, which is this measurement.
And the only other thing that we need to know is that the seat of the bird's mouth needs to be 5.5 inches. It can be more than that, and it will be if we pull that out at an angle. All right, so you can see our debris field here. We did use an inadequate saw, and one adequate saw that does not have sufficient diversity to be able to cut all the angles, but it's cut. So this guy is the top, and that over there yonder is the bottom, and we should be ready to get this in place.
I'm gonna go over here by the ladder.
You need to set it on the table if you want.
You're gonna have to go over. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, we cut at the right angle, but that's not gonna do it. I was afraid of that. We hit 45 it, I can't make it through. I'll have to stubby it from the top and the bottom instead. Okay. All right, so some finagling. I am gonna leave this one up probably, just permanent. No reason not to, just a nice little support for that beam, and it is tied into a tripled up stud. So it's got plenty of good support, sitting nice onto the outside. Sticks out, should be the foot that we need. A lot of math involved in that, and we did actually get that wrong. We had to take it down and recut it. So I'll tell you what happened. We measured this overhang bit on this beam, not for the length of the beam, but for where this little bird's mouth needed to be, based off of as if it were coming out straight, and it's not. It's coming out at a 45, and so it's not 12 inches. It's actually 10 and a half, because we have the fascia, but it's 10 and a half and 10 and a half on the hypotenuse of that triangle. This is a Simpson, and it is a 12 gauge thickness strap, cut from roll, 36 inches long, which is what it calls for at this floor. Lower down where I have strap, it's 48. 7 nails on either side. And it needs to basically bridge from about here to about there is our floor rim joist. Now, you don't actually need to put any nails into that. You can if you want, but you don't have to. What this is for is to tie a doubled up post or more here and a doubled up stud or a post up here. And it just holds these two floors together much more strongly than the connection of the rim joist to the flooring and to the sill plate below or above, and then to the top plates below. So say hello to Frederick, everyone. This is Fred. How's it going? Has a hanger for your belt. I'm afraid it's gonna rip my pants off though here. Pretty heavy, a little heavier than the Husky that I had anyway, especially with the battery on. And I'm somewhat unimpressed by its full capability of driving these 3-inch by 0.131 nails thus far. I would feel like it should be able to drive a little farther than that anyway. You might have noticed by now that some of this is from before the videos on the top roof. What I get done not only depends on the weather, but on who I have available to help. If it's just me, I tend to work on details, prep, and transitional tasks between the big flashy stuff that's easiest or only doable for me with help. We prioritized the top roof and worked on the lower roof in between until the top was done, then turned our focus to this lower section that covers the porch, the dining room, and the utility room.
Tea waiting for me.
Yeah, that's your mark.
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding.
Nice cup of tea. Never a better thing on a cold winter's day.
Now we find out if your mark was in the right place.
Perfect every time.
That's right. That can't be my mark, me. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna put it where Ben told me to.
Find my mark. But what's the...
Thought was he.
What did he call me? Don't say those words about me. I'm a normal size wussy.
Well, we'll see here on the board.
Not the slanted, the flat.
I know. Flat. And then, like I said again. Ben, we're right.
I was wrong, Ben was right.
Repeat after me.
I was
Right.
wrong, Ben was right.
That's right.
Keep going, you're not there yet.
Meetings will continue.
Until production improves.
Not hanging from it like he's there.
Nope, they aren't required to be. Funny, huh? Toenail on this side.
Well, I mean.
Well, actually, we're going this way,
Right.
so I'll attach it in probably to this hanger. No, to this one. The one's gonna run right here. I'll just attach them into that.
Okay.
And then that way you don't have to worry about the sheetrock surface coming along there anyway. There are a couple of tools I've had to replace over the course of this build. I was hoping to make it through the rough phase with this old rigid, but as you can see, I've just had it at this point. I finally caved and bought myself a new Metabo rear handle circular saw. It has the power I needed, and it uses the same battery as everything else I've slowly been adding and replacing. I've been trying to get myself down to just one type of tools, and at least right now, I only really need this and DeWalt. So Ben's up patching in the remainder of the joists. So basically everything on that side. We're just doing about 5 nails. It's probably more than actually is required. They didn't really specify, but where there's overlap about every 2 inches, keeping about 2 inches from the edge. We'll be finished out today to here, and then the porch we'll do tomorrow. So blocking at an angle like it calls for, and then that will take holes going out for ventilation, which is gonna come up and vent along the top. The only other thing of note here, so the plan specifically call for these 5 to be hangered into the beam right here. And so I took 3.5 .162s and jammed these puppies in through our board we put up. And that gives us a nice drywall surface, as well as giving us a very solid connection to that beam. And this beam is gonna get boxed down a little bit. It is sitting downwards, and that was so that it would actually stay flush with the floor surface above. Otherwise it wasn't going to be, and that was going to be annoying. So that's why I did that. Putting in the blocking right now, you can see we have that angle that we mentioned that we weren't gonna do on the top. And it's because I was able to use, so there's no H1s to get in the way, make this a lot harder to do than it should be. Instead, we can run, let's see if I can find one here. You can run a screw that replaces, it's basically the same as like a not quite 3/8 inch lag bolt replacement, and it runs all the way from the bottom up into the rafter, and that holds it in place of an H1 tie. So something that's very useful to have. I have 6 inches what I'm using, and it gets really good purchase. There's very little movement in these. You can see, like, I'm putting hard pressure on that and it's barely moving. So we have our beam, our post I should say, 6x6. We're gonna be using for the porch. Nothing too complicated. One beam's gonna come in and have an angle cut. The other beam's gonna come in and have an angle cut. And then this is what's remaining on the 6x6. So buzz cut down both ends, and follow that up with just a plunge cut, carefully, not putting much pressure so that it didn't cut down into what we're keeping, which you can see that's this corner. So I'm gonna finish it out with just this rough saw here.
Yeah. Jeremy,
Huh?
you don't care about cutting down there. You only care about it down that far, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cut a little bit.
You're right. You're so smart.
I know.
You're so handsome, so smart. So Ben's marking out for me the laser leveled height from our top plate over here at the corner. We have to subtract 1 1/4 inches because that's how high up it is to get to that cross laser. And then we're gonna take off 11 3/8 because that's the height of our 4x12 beam. And that's gonna tell us where our hidden hanger is gonna sit for the beams on the outside. We already have one that we installed right there, and just a ton of nails just to get those secured in there. But then tomorrow, we'll be able to put up our post that we mitered and get the beams thrown up on top, and we're gonna be able to work on the roof on this section over here.
Oh, hi! We were just talking about you. Ah, ha, ha. She said no. Oh, she said hello.
Oh, hello. That's right.
I said oh hi. She heard.
I could come at an angle with the tractor and get it up a ways probably, and then we'd have to stand on. Yeah.
Take it over, let's go.
Right. You can set it on the windowsill for a minute.
Blue box cat. Blue box cat back there. You okay? Yeah. Is Jeremy okay? Hold on. Yeah. Got a bend break.
So you got a bend brake?
A bend break.
I can probably hold this just like this for a second. Let me get it up. It's kind of sort of in the saddle, but it's turned the wrong angle, so it's not quite going all the way over.
It has to go my way a bit.
There we go. It's in the saddle now.
All right.
How close is it? Off the edge of here.
Yeah, off the edge just a bit.
Oh, I think
Twisty food just a
it
bit.
is. They're both twisty food. I can try and hammer it in a little bit, but like an eighth or what?
Like quarter.
Quarter? That's a bit more than I'd like.
You fix it.
All right, whatever that is, we'll take it.
Oh, okay. I like it. It's very perfectly blurred. What?
Don't worry, we're professionals. Have you ever seen this before? Yes, many times. In horses.
Hello.
He was bracing it on your level.
Oh,
Level wouldn't be happy with you.
I think he's just engaging in how many tools can he destroy before this is done.
That's true.
Katie said you could fix your saw. I said that you wouldn't want her to fix her saw, but she could.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, it fit.
If the gloves look like schnit, you must have quit. Well, we're down about a quarter of an inch, maybe. Probably more like an eighth.
Well, if you want to patch this end and then fuck with that,
I would like the yellow level if you haven't destroyed it.
that happens.
All right, so now we have the LCE4s. We're just going to add that in to each of these corners, and that will tie this whole post and beam structure in. So we can start it on the hip beam, and then the rafters and joists for this outside section over the porch.
Brush out beard and done.
Get the crumbs out of the beard.
That's right. Get the crumbs from last night.
Silence, hecklers! Okay, so we have a beam here. This is really the most complicated thing about the house that we've done as far as framing goes, from a perspective of the people putting the framing up, not the engineering. But so you have a 10-degree angle with a 45. You have a cutoff for a it's supposed to be basically a bird's mouth, but we just went ahead and cut it off so that at the end the fascia has plenty of space. and isn't dwarfed by the beam. And you've got a 10 and a 45 on this side. So 2 45s and a 10 on both sides. So just like the previous one, which is up there already, we're hoping this one goes up nice and easy, right where it's supposed to be. That one gave us some trouble because we had not realized or taken into account or done the math on two things. And the first was that this is 10 degrees, not 14 like the roof, because it's at a 45, and therefore it's longer. And that's the other thing. We didn't catch the full developed length correctly. We overshot our mark on that. So we're gonna get this put up and we're gonna see how it looks.
First things I have to do is put up on ladder, so I can climb ladder and lift it up higher. Okay. And not die. Is that not die part?
Yes, it's a crucial part of the formula, isn't it?
I think I would have at least one person who would be sad if there was an event of death.
Doggo?
Dog. That's right. Hello, spear pointing face. All right, we have enacted. Oh,
Wait. Okay. Now, you're gonna try to pull that up?
I was pretty proud of all the angles and cuts coming out so nice on this beam as we got it set up into place. Once the beam was actually installed, I realized that the hip beam wasn't quite long enough to hit the fascia after all. I haven't taken the time yet to figure out what went wrong in my math, though I will at some point. It's just the price I pay for being an English major, I guess.
So we have places to be today, so we're not going to stick around even though there's still sun, but we've got quite a bit done today. You can see we've got the hip beam on, and it came out pretty much exactly the way we wanted this time, which is just better adherence to math and understanding exactly what we're doing as far as angles and everything goes. So that feels good. Started to get the blocking on, and Dad's getting everything marked off as far as how far out we're going to cut for our drops. And then I'll come back through and just buzz all those at the correct spacing for the eaves, the overhang.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. Breakfast is a good time of day, huh?
Let's take it up. Probably like only a half inch down off the side.
Oh, okay.
And let me know when you're good.
That's about, yeah.
While installing this board, I was grumpily dwelling on how I'd have to add sideboards to the beam to attach the fascia. You'll never see it once the soffit is installed, but I'll know it's there. I have one more chance to figure this out. The lower side deck has a roof with hips too.
Fascia's on. We do have to buzz the end on that one, but enough for us to get started on some of the sheathing.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
Essentially what I'm going to try and do is have the tape that's above run over top of the tape that's below in every area. So this tape would go first, and then this tape would go, and then this ridge would go, if that makes sense. And so that's how I'm going to get this area taped up, and we're going to have this nice and covered and hopefully water impervious. So I run the tape past, and then I just cut pretty much on the line here where the tape's going to be for the other one, just a hair above so that it's covered. But other than that, these laps are pretty easy. It's probably a bad idea. I'm going to try and run this whole cross tape there. Ease her down. Right on track. Let's see how we did. Pretty good. So get that rolled and looks good. We're also going to be taping the line along the building here, and temporarily this is going to be a vented wall to roof section. We'll temporarily tape over that as well, just to help prevent any water from coming down into the structure now that we've got it covered so nicely.
Winterizing the caves continues.
Thank you for watching.
See you next